Not sure what movie to watch this weekend? I got you. Whether you're debating between F1 or M3GAN 2.0, or maybe you missed something that's still out there like 28 years later, How to Train Your Dragon, I'll break it all down so you can pick the best movie for your night out. I'll share my quick takes on each, let you know what's worth your ticket, and at the end, I'll tell you which one I personally think is the must-watch of the weekend. So stick around and let me know in the comments what you plan to see or what you already saw, and let's get into it. One more thing before I get into it too much here, go ahead and subscribe for me, hit the like button, help me hit this goal of 2,000 subscribers. I'm really close, less than 50 away. Every single person helps, so I really appreciate your support. All right, so the two big new movies out this weekend are F1 and M3GAN 2.0. They couldn't be farther apart from one another. One is a cheeky horror comedy, that's a sequel, and one is a loud, nonstop sports drama. So it really depends on what your mood is. I think both of these films are entertaining for very different audiences. So F1, here you've got Brad Pitt, directed by the same person that did Top Gun Maverick. So if you enjoyed that film, I think you'll really like this one. A lot of this fight, like the dogfight sequences, the plane chases and skirmishes in that first one are brought back to life in this one, except this time he uses cars, of course. There's so much interesting behind the scenes stuff that went on with this film. Years in the making. I know this is a Warner Brothers / Apple TV Plus film, and they actually developed a camera system to mount on the car that used iPhone 15 Pro sensors, along with some custom firmware and chips. It's really interesting what they did with that. And what really stood out to me about this film was that the entire thing was shot in IMAX. So from a technical level, it was very challenging to pull off, and he did it absolutely brilliantly. I think a lot of credit has to go to the director and the director of photography for this one. And this is probably one of the louder movies I've seen in a theater. It has a banging soundtrack and score. I mean, Hans Zimmer did the score for this one. So if you're into Hans Zimmer, this is something that's a little different for him. I think he's kind of like a chameleon when he writes. He is just very much so adapts himself to whatever situation he's put in. And you could really tell the techno theme to this one pushing through. There's very little time where you heard just the sound effects of the cars in the races for this one. It was always kind of tied with some sort of music, whether it be part soundtrack or score. They were really mixed well together. I think that the sound design in this film is excellent for sure. It is kind of longer, so this one's 2.5 hours long, entirely shot in IMAX, and they are doing it in other premium screen formats too, including 4DX, which is something that I checked out tonight actually, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. 4DX was designed for a movie like this. It felt like I was in a motion simulator, and because the movie's so long, you are definitely getting your money's worth with this one. So shout out to Regal for that 4DX experience. Everybody's just jostling all over the place. It is absolutely wild. The story, I think, is pretty good. It's kind of a classic sports underdog type story. You've got the old pro and you've got the kind of cocky new blood into the sport. And the acting was excellent in this film. I thought that the side characters were also pretty interesting. Some of the pit crew and the members of the team, the race team as well, along with the mother of the new driver and the love interest. It was all very well done. The story was pretty predictable, but I think what really made this one stand out is all the chase sequences and all the race sequences in there. So if you're a fan of F1, I think you're definitely going to appreciate this. I know that they snuck quite a few cameos in here as well of different racers and different people in the industry. I know our theater reacted pretty strongly when these people were on the screen for a little bit, so that's something fun if you're into F1. Also, I think if you're not into F1 like me, I'm not particularly keen to anyone in that sport or industry. I enjoy car racing and watching it and everything, but I don't know too much about that particular sport. I still had a great time, and I think you will too. So it is, just keep in mind, it's on the longer side. It's about 2.5 hours long, but it never feels like it goes too slow. So I think this one's a really good summer blockbuster movie all the way around. I don't know if it's as good as Top Gun Maverick. I wouldn't quite put it at that level. I think Tom Cruise just delivers a little bit more than Brad Pitt does in this situation, but it's still very enjoyable. And I highly recommend checking that one out for sure. So that's kind of what F1 is all about. And then the other big one this weekend that's coming out is M3GAN 2.0. My short review, I didn't get to talk a whole lot about the plot for this one, but I will say that it wants to be so many different things. It wants to be an AI thriller. It wants to capture the magic of the first film that it saw in like the dance sequences and the song sequences. And the more I thought about this, the more I realized M3GAN isn't even in this film as much as I would hope she would have been. I gave it, I believe, a 3.5 out of 5, and I stick with that. But it would have been better if they would have capitalized on her more. Yes, we did get another song. Yes, we did get another dance, but it almost felt forced, like, okay, this worked last time, so let's put it in again this time. And it wasn't that the movie was bad. It was that it was trying to be so many things at once. It was trying to be a complicated AI thriller, but it was also trying to be something like Mission Impossible at times. And I think it focused too much on the side characters and the human characters rather than the AI robots. There's another robot in this movie as well, and she's fun whenever she's in it too, and so is M3GAN whenever she's in there, but they just aren't in it enough. And I think that if they would have leaned more into those subjects in the film, it would have been better off. So I think it's still a good time. I think if you really liked the first one, you'll probably enjoy this, if nothing else, just to see M3GAN again in another film. But it is trying to do a lot of things at once, and I don't know if it works all the time. There's definitely moments where it's very funny and very tongue-in-cheek, and it's super self-aware the entire time, which is great. I love that they leaned into that, but it could have been a little more. So now it comes down to the part where, do you want to see a horror comedy, or do you want to see an action movie, or do you want to see one of the other movies that is still out at the box office? So let's take a look here real quick. I'm going to pull up my list of movies still at the box office. Okay, so we've got F1 and M3GAN 2.0 we talked about. 28 years later, I think that this earned quite a bit of money at the box office last weekend, and I think it was definitely a solid entry into the series for sure. And is it better than M3GAN 2.0? I think if you're into horror specifically, then yes, for sure. M3GAN was definitely much more of an action movie than a horror movie in this instance. So I think if you're more of a horror fan and you were hoping for more of that from M3GAN 2.0, unfortunately, it's leaning more into an action comedy rather than a horror comedy. I know we refer to it as a horror comedy, but it's, I mean, you could even see here by the list of genres, it kind of encapsulates a lot of different things in here. So I think if you're more of a horror fan, 28 years later definitely is the move. I think as far as family movies go, we've got two still out in theaters now. We've got Elio and we have How to Train Your Dragon. By far and away, How to Train Your Dragon is much better, in my opinion, than Elio. So I would prefer to see this one over Elio if I was choosing a family film to see this weekend. And also we still have Materialist, Ballerina, Phoenician Scheme, Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, and Thunderbolt still out in theaters. So of all the ones that are returning this week, I think, depending on, your preference, I would see 28 Years Later or How to Train Your Dragon if you haven't seen them yet. I think if you want to see a premium screen offering and you're more into a sports, action, adventure type drama, I would definitely go check out F1 over M3GAN. And I think if you've already seen F1 or you see it and you want to see what else is new, then maybe go see M3GAN. So for me, I think my top three from worst to best this weekend are going to be M3GAN in third, 28 Years Later in second, and F1 in first. And then again, if you're going to go see a family movie, I would choose How to Train Your Dragon. I'd love to hear what you guys are interested in watching this weekend or what you're going to go see. Leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'm going to try and come out with more frequent videos like this, just keeping you updated of what's going on at the box office, what's out right now, what I would watch, what I recommend seeing. F1 this weekend for sure. For a brand new movie, check out F1. It's 2.5 hours long. See it in a premium screen format if possible. I'm talking IMAX. I'm talking 4DX. This movie was built for both of those things. It's IMAX the entire movie through, and I haven't seen a film like that in a super long time. And 4DX, that experience just can't be topped with a film like this where you're in a car driving most of the film. So definitely check that one out. And again, Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next show.